All right, we are back with the Stock Watch. Leading off the Stock Watch, Alshon Jeffery. NFL.com's Ian Rappaport reports Alshon Jeffery shoulder surgery could begin the season on the reserve/PUP list, which would cost him 6 games minimum. Thoughts, real quick?
Obviously, that's a huge blow if he does actually land on there. I don't think he actually will. I believe he'll be ready, if not the beginning of the season, then maybe misses a game or two. I can't see him costing the entire first six weeks of the season. He was saying the goal was to be ready for week 1, and it's already been about 6 months for this rotator cuff surgery. I think he'll be okay, but you do got to consider what could life be without Alshon Jeffery for these first six weeks. He's missed time in a lot of his professional seasons. 9-game season in Chicago, 12-game, 10-game. So injuries are not new to Alshon Jeffery, and this is obviously some of the big risk that comes with this guy. This huge talent otherwise is often playing hampered and dinged up. What if this lingers on? If it's taking this long to get recovered, can you trust that he's going to be fully 100% ready to go? No time to build that rapport and trust. What it says to me is you got to consider Aguilar a little bit more. Maybe he inherits that number 1 receiver role in the missed time, and maybe he never lets it go. Going at pick 90 to 100 right now, huge value. And then even Mike Wallace might become a streamable wide receiver in those early few weeks of the season. Maybe you draft Julian Edelman and you get Mike Wallace in your last round. You can kind of throw him in there as long as Alshon Jeffery's out. So just looking at those other pieces a little bit more, the target share will go up. You just got to see, is Alshon going to actually be healthy? Huge question mark throughout his career and a huge question mark now, clearly.
All right. Jerick McKinnon, and this had to make you cringe maybe a little bit when this happened. We got McKinnon's injury, who's been added. Jerick McKinnon, knee, received an MRI Sunday, which, thank God, and that's a quote, showed, quote, just a muscle strain, end quote. However, with him and Matt Breida now sidelined indefinitely, the team has signed the ageless one, Alfred Morris. Thoughts, Wolf?
Yeah, so the immediate reaction is I did drop McKinnon a little bit. At this point, it's getting a little sketchy. You don't want to overreact to news. This is a guy at one point had 12 on my big board, so I was all in. I still would really like to own McKinnon as an RB2. I could not go into the season at this point trusting him as my RB1. I would love to have a stable guy in front of him, or if he is my RB1, I'm going like Jordan Howard right after if I'm at the top of the draft. Let's say I had A, B, or something like that. I need a stable guy, and he could be a great RB2 with a lot of upside. Shanahan's system still is so money. They're paying him a ton of cash to be their main workhorse guy. So there's still tons of upside here with McKinnon. I'm not going to freak out, but I am dropping him below guys like Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, AJ Green, maybe even Jordan Howard and Gronk now with higher floors at this point. But the Alfred Morris news also has to intrigue you a little bit because he has some history with Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, as a rookie, 1,613 yards and 13 TDs when he blew up onto the scene. Then he's got 276 carries, 1,275 yards, and 7 TDs the next year. So not a bad follow-up. And even last year, Alfred Morris ranked number 7 of 47 running backs in Football Outsiders rushing success rate, number 4 in Pro Football Focus's yards after contact out of 53 rushes. So, I mean, this guy was still rumbling a bit, didn't have a great opportunity there, but showed when he got the chance. Maybe he gets another chance here with the 49ers to be their early down guy. Never much of a pass catcher, so McKinnon would still have a role, but what if Morris does start inheriting more volume? You got to make sure you're tracking how he's used, and he obviously becomes a big penny stock at this point.
All right, Saints backfield. Who will take over during Mark Ingram's absence? And the Advocate's Nick Underhill, a friend of the podcast, Nick Underhill.
Absolutely.
Believes Saints running back Jonathan Williams is, quote, making a run up the depth chart, end quote. What do you think?
And this is a guy who flashed for the Bills last preseason and has flashed and given opportunities. We were kind of surprised to see him cut and then not really resurface anymore, but here he is. And what I like about this Saints situation, we covered this actually way back in May when nobody was probably paying attention, is that the running backs coach for the Saints was actually his college coach over at Arkansas, Joel Thomas, and he said he has a knack for what we call our slash running game as far as puncturing and finding a hole. He catches the ball decent out of the backfield, bigger body, can sustain some contact that's involved with the position, intelligence to him. He's going to pick up this offense just fine, and he has been doing so. So, I mean, he's already gotten some praise from his college coach, and that slashing way, absorbing the contact, that's exactly what the Ingram role kind of is. And if he fills that role, this is a huge thing to monitor because Ingram 1 is going in round 5, which is a complete steal if you can weather those first 4 weeks and then get a complete RB1 injection into your lineup. Had a touchdown already in the first preseason game if you need a reminder of how good Ingram's going to be in this high-powered attack. You need to weather those first 4 weeks, though, and this could be a very easy, cheap way, last round type of guy. If it's this Jonathan Williams guy, they face the Browns and the Bucks the first weeks as well. Positive game flow where they're going to probably be running and bleeding out some clock. I really see a ton of sleeper value coming from whoever it is that Mark Ingram fill-in. They've said it's not going to be Kamara, and they're not just going to rocket up his workload, so somebody's going to be it. It seems like Williams is the guy right now. Make sure you're still tracking that, but he's got to be on your penny stock late round radar at this point.
All right, this is one of my favorite ones. There's a ton of quotes for me to read through here. Bears updates, weaponry emerging, but will it matter? I'm going to read 4 quick headlines, and they all have quotes, and some of them are just fantastic. The Chicago Tribune believes it is, quote, no longer accurate, end quote, to list Tariq Cohen as a running back, and that he, quote, requires a slash, end quote, for running back, receiver, etc. Meanwhile, the Chicago Tribune reports second-round wide receiver Anthony Miller is locking down slot duties in camp. No quotes there. Boring. Matt Nagy has said, quote, Adam Shaheen, end quote. That's the quote. Adam Shaheen will, quote, be a big part of this offense, end quote. Thank you, Matt. And then, but will any of it matter without Mitch Trubisky, who's remained, quote, uneven, end quote, throughout training camp? The Adam Shaheen quote, my favorite yet. We should get shirts that say Adam Shaheen with quotes. On
in quotes, right? Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Fantastic stuff there, and well read there. But let's start with our guy, Tariq Cohen. Obviously, the most important guy for a number of reasons. For us, we've recommended him about 1 million times, and it's what we like to hear here is exactly what we're expecting, that Nagy's going to be utilizing this guy to his absolute fullest potential. Pro Football Focus top breakaway threat last year with over half his runs going for 15-plus yards and was completely underutilized by John Fox. Now that you're seeing Rich Campbell, their guys say, Cohen's lining up everywhere to maximize his speed, agility, and explosiveness with the ball in his hands, it's just a complete opposite 180 turn. He's still going and pick 80 to 90 in the expert consensus rankings, which is a bona fide steal. And if any of these weapons are going to be able to live with a bad Trubisky, I think it would be Cohen because it's a lot of dump-offs, a lot of passes, a lot of Tyreek Hill's route tree as well, going deep and scoring those long ball touchdowns as well. So Cohen, just more praise to reaffirm what we love about him. And then you got Anthony Miller, one of our favorite penny stocks. We talk about Johnny Goodtime's guide. Anthony Miller is in there as a favorite penny stock of mine, a guy that Matt Nagy went out and scouted and said, we love the way he runs his routes, the way he bends them at the end and doesn't round them off, very sharp in his cuts. I look at him and I say, I know how I'm going to use that. When a coach says that and he has an actual role in mind, that's fantastic, especially a guy like Nagy, who I think is very bright and aggressive again. But again, will any of this matter? Obviously, we got Shaheen had a big preseason game, 59 yards, 3 catches. I think that just more reflects Trey Burton does have a little thorn in his side here. Big touchdown upside from the 6'7" Shaheen. And again, Mitch Trubisky, uneven. That's the one question we've always had with the Bears is he going to be able to sustain these guys that we all love and that have tons of talent? Right now, it's a question mark. 2 interceptions of practice, they're saying so far. But again, we don't really care so much if there's interceptions as much as it is, can he still make those big bombs happen? So if he throws 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I'll take that all day. Tons of upside still with Mitch Trubisky. Let's see this even out. I want to see some full preseason live action.
All right, Saquon Barkley scare. Giants head coach Pat Shurmur said Saquon Barkley has a, quote, mild strain, end quote. That one's not that fun to say, actually. What do you think? You freaked out by this?
No, not at all. And actually, we had our boy on, Dan Schneider, who said, doesn't seem like a big deal. He was walking around fine after camp, went and talked to people. He unwrapped it pretty quickly. Not a big deal. They are going to be cautious. That's what Pat Shurmur said. We're going to move him along, but be very cautious with it. I wouldn't be surprised to not see him the rest of the preseason. It is a little concerning because that's the thing I always loved about Barkley. He's so well built. I mean, those legs and the body issue. I was like, this guy's never going to break down. He's a literal horse. We're already seeing strains. Gives you a little caution, a little cause for concern, but ultimately it's Barkley. He's a horse. He's going to be fine. And I like the way that he did get hurt was he was running a deep wheel route down the sidelines, and according to Dan Schneider, beat Janoris Jenkins on that route, which is a very hard thing to do, their best cornerbacks. So we're still seeing the talent even in this bad news. I'm fine with keeping Barkley at number 6 overall. I'm not overreacting.
All right, John Brown continues to be the best wide receiver in Ravens training camp. He made 3 more highlight reel catches from Joe Flacco. The rapport between Brown and Flacco has been evident all summer, and Flacco credited Brown for his renewed success throwing deep during training camp. What do you think? We've been burned by Brown before.
We've been burned by him before, but this time you can get him at pick 200. You can get him in your last round. I think a lot of these things we're talking about, whether it's the Saints backup running back, we're in that penny stock range, and we're trying to give you these names to load up after round 12 or so when you don't recognize those names anymore. Now John Brown's a guy that you can really add to that list too. The report, obviously all those reports, Flacco's having far and away his best camp. He's completing deep pass after deep pass, and it sounds like John Brown's the main reason for that. He's always been great at tracking those balls. He's always had a huge explosive upside. Of course, our guy Mitch Renz compared him even Antonio Brown at some points for his smallish frame, but the way he gets deep. And it's obviously a complete hyperbolic assessment of him. He's not that good. He's not Antonio Brown, but the guy is a playmaker. He's very dangerous, and Flacco is a very strong-armed quarterback. So if those two are connecting, there's some real upside here, especially if you do like best ball where you're not having to worry about. He's going to disappear plenty of weeks. He's going to burn you completely. But if you do those type of lineups where it calculates the highest scorers and just throws them in, he's going to have plenty of 25, 30-point random two-touchdown type days. That's what John Brown's going to bring here. It's a kind of a flex play during your bye weeks that you don't want to ever go against, and you kind of put him in there and pray for the best. You'd be scared to face him type of guy. I can see John Brown really carving that type of rollout here. I don't buy he's the best wide receiver in camp. That's Crabtree. He's going to be the target hog is Crabtree, but I do like the upside Brown brings to the table.
All right, we're going to be right back with our preseason market report covering week 1 right after this.